You know what? I maybe have done the craziest decision I ever made in my life. I decided to buy a 52-year-old car that's located more than 220 miles away from where I live. Tomorrow morning we are going to have an early rise. We are going to drive and pay and collect the car. And it's a purchase that is from a private person, so I am a little bit, what can you say, worried about the whole thing, how it would go down, because I've never transferred that amount of money to a private seller before. I always purchased my cars through dealers and all sorts of stuff where you have some sort of security for your purchase. The seller is a really, really nice guy, so I shouldn't be really worried. On the other hand, I think you will appreciate this car. It's really, really nice and it is in mint condition, and I'm looking so much forward to show you here on the channel what it is that I have put my money towards. Normally I am a pretty sane person and I'm pretty careful around my money, but this time I've taken the full plunge and I'm really not sure if this is a good decision or not. But sometimes before your final day arrives, you got to take some chances and you got to put yourself out there and kind of try out stuff that you have been dreaming about. And this car is actually something that I have been dreaming about. It's from my childhood. I had a poster of this. I had a Lamborghini Countach on the wall, and then I had a picture of this car, and now I'm finally in a position where I can buy one, and I'm really looking forward to sort of integrate that as a part of the channel here. Let me just teach you a little bit. It's an American classic and it has really horrible gas mileage. So it will cost me like an arm and a leg to get it back from the other side of Denmark. So I'll probably just end out driving it outside my garage and just taking a chair, sitting and looking at it. I hope this will be a lot of fun, and at least I am pretty excited now, and I will probably have limited amount of rest before we go and pick up the car tomorrow. So one thing is bad gas mileage, but I'm also a little bit concerned. It is a 52-year-old car, if it will survive the trip back from the other side of Denmark. So that would be super interesting to see if I can get it home in one piece. I went through at least 1 year of research, and I have been out looking at a ton of cars and different versions of this model before I settled on the one that I decided to buy. I will make a separate video about that topic because there's a lot of consideration that went into this before I finally pulled the trigger. Hopefully I made the right choice, because it's very, very easy to buy something that will require a ton of money to even keep it running. So if you want to hear more about that, let me know in the comment below. I'll probably make the video anyway. Hvad siger du så, Asger? So we picked up this 1970 Corvette, which is kind of my dream car. And I was a little bit worried, as I told in the earlier part of the video, that if the transaction would go well. But it was significantly less complicated than I thought. So, and it was all worth it. Listen.
This is pure fun. I just want to show you a crazy detail on the car. Is that if you put on your seatbelt, you have to push this one to get to sort of say that you have mounted your seatbelt. It doesn't do anything. It's just a lamp, and it turns on every time that you sort of turn off the ignition of the car. And then I don't know what that's for, but that's before safety was a thing with cars. Also, when we are talking safety, this is as unsafe probably as it can be. There's only a buckle belt that protects us. There's no airbags. There are no like headrest in the back here that will take us impact. So we have to be really careful when we drive the car. And then another challenge is that the speedometer of the car, that is in miles per hour, and we are not using that here in Europe, so I have to sort of readjust my mindset to drive according to the speed limits and convert that in my head. We had a little accident at one point, or it's not an accident, but we had a situation where the car sort of cut out, and because I'm not used to riding with the automatic gear, then I didn't know how to start it, and it was in the middle of a big road. So I kind of imagined this scenery from a Hollywood movie where the car is parked in the middle of the road, and then a big truck would sort of take care of it. But luckily there was a nice couple there that helped me push it to the side, and then I learned that the car should be in park, not in neutral, when I need to start it. And that's probably basic knowledge for everyone that has grown up with the automatic transmission. But here in Europe, we only have most of the cars, at least the old cars, they are with stick shift. So yeah, so that's a learning process. But look at this view. Look at this view when I look over the hood of this car. It is absolutely stunning. It is stunning. And now I know what it is that they're talking about when they're saying there's no view like this. And under the hood, we have a nice 350 small block. It is stock around 300 horsepower, but it has been modified slightly, and I'm really looking forward to show you what it looks like under the hood, because it's very, very nicely. The whole car here is renovated from top to bottom. So it's, even though it's an old lady, 52 years old, it's still in a pretty pristine condition. So we have a lot of miles to get back home to where I live. We have a lot to travel. I just went to the gas station, and even though the gas prices are pretty high, as it is right now, I decided to fill it up, because we need to get home, and we're probably going to use a full tank to get back home. So that was something like, I don't know, $150 of gas that I put on here. That's a lot of money. So, and now I think I'm speeding. I think it's 35 to match the 50 kilometers an hour here. Ish. So it's, oh, okay, you're allowed to drive 60 here. So now we are around 80 here, so I think we can drive this. This is one of the concerns that when you're driving a convertible is if you're actually, it's cold to sit here, because the temperature is maybe, I don't know what that's translated into Fahrenheit. I'll write that on the video, but it's around 20 C here. The sun is shining, and you can smell the cows, the shit from the cows, which is a little bit unpleasant. But a lot of questions is if it's cold to sit inside a convertible like this, and it's actually quite nice. It's a little bit windy here in the back, but you can buy some sort of a bracket that you can put in the back that will help deflect the wind that comes from the back of the car, the back side. So that's definitely something, an upgrade that I will consider. it's really a different experience to ride one of these really old cars. I had this car inspected by a gentleman that is part of the local Corvette club, and I also had it adjusted in the steering, because when I tried it initially, it kind of steered like a sack of potatoes. Of course, you can't expect a miracle when you are riding a 52-year-old car, but at least it is a sports car. It was a sports car originally, and it has individual suspension and all sorts of fancy stuff. So it should drive better than it did originally. So I decided with the seller that it had to go to this shop and get like a four-wheel adjustment to make sure that it was kind of driving the most optimal way. I said yes to buy the car around 4 weeks earlier than this, so it has been a really, really long wait, and it's so nice that I finally have been able to collect the car and drive it back to Zealand. And I hope we are not getting into trouble with the car and the mechanics, because the story behind the car is that this guy that has taken it apart originally, he spent like 3 years of renovating it. So it has like lifted the frame, and it has been really nicely done below. The engine has been done, the brakes have been replaced. Yeah, basically everything inside the car has been replaced, but he hasn't been driving it much since he completed the renovation. So it has been sitting in a container for like 4 years. And this is of course not optimal. Cars like these are meant to be driven. So there could be something that will rattle loose or something under the way back to Zealand. But I hope we will survive the trip. And yeah, so I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. I will just concentrate here on the road, because I'm riding significantly faster than what I've done before in this car, and it is a different experience, as I said. So over and out for now. I'll check in a little bit later. So now we're more than halfway, and we got a little bit of rain, so we had to cave in and put on the roof. With everything else with this car, we have to learn how this is done. It's not by the single press of a button. You have to unfold and different sort of mechanisms that needs to be utilized to be able to do that. Also, it seems it's a little bit low in idle. So we had a problem where it sort of went dead on us, and we had a little hard time starting the car as it was. So, but now we need to get something to eat, so we're ready to take the final stretch of the trip. So this is not good. It requires a lot of space actually to get in and out of, especially if you are an old guy like me. The top needs to go down, the final piece here. So we're doing that. Headlights is up. Need to do that. Man, this is a nice car. I'm so happy that I bought it. Shit, det tosser jeg rundt med. So we made it the whole way home. It was kind of exciting, the last part of it, because the car kept dying when it was idling on us. So it was not that easy to ride the last 3-4 kilometers with this one. I have to look into that tomorrow. Maybe it's sort of the idle level of the car that is too low, and I'm too tired right now because it has been a long day.
but I'm happy that we made it safe home, at least, and then yeah, let's take it from there tomorrow.